Welcome back to Career Podcasters.
1, 2, 3, go!
I noticed the news is regular again today. I really actually noticed it for the first time.
You were watching the news?
No.
What's
the
news?
the notifications on my phone. The
Yes,
little blurbs.
yes.
They're just
The
getting
new
sad.
news.
They're getting sadder and sadder. So I follow Fox News for fun.
Uh-huh.
I just want to see what they're doing. And I don't remember the headline, but it was something about Joe Biden canceling Dr. Seuss. That was what Fox had their eye on. That was their big story today.
Well, I doubt it was Joe Biden. I don't know the story, to be fair. But I did hear that it's getting canceled for certain racial undertones in the books. I don't know.
That's my initial reaction is, but I'm white and I read them as a white child.
I read them as a kid too.
But I thought they were more about unity and like environmental protection and shit.
Also, we were children.
One
I don't
fish,
remember
two
what they were really
fish,
about.
Red fish, blue fish.
My favorite was Go Dog Go.
They just rhymed.
That's a great one.
Cat in
Yeah.
a Hat. I think that was my favorite.
Yeah.
Or Green Eggs and Ham. Green Eggs and Ham is such a good one.
Sam I Am.
Down with the program, Green Eggs and Ham. Yo, Yosemite Sam.
Actually was,
It's the Beastie Boys, man.
I feel like they really had lessons, but apparently there's racial undertones. And like, I have not read the books as an adult, so I'm not going to speak either way.
I mean, look at what happened to Star Wars. Look at what happened with Episode 1.
True,
It
true.
took us forever
Yeah.
to realize that, yeah.
So episode 1 of Star Wars has these aliens for the Trade Federation. And they sound
Like the South Park imitations of Asian. Like
Yeah.
literally like how
The
the
shitty
South Park
walk guy?
guys do the shitty walk. Yeah, that's almost exactly what these motherfuckers sound like. And it's nuts.
And apparently it was on purpose. Like I think they were told. I read this off.
They
some
did it
random
on
article
purpose?
That they like in the description, because they have to write what the role is when they're hiring people. They wanted to do like an impersonation of a Thai person. I think they said. People think that it had.
So that was a white guy impersonating a Thai person. They
I don't-
didn't even
I don't know who
hire
did
an
it.
actual Asian
I
person
think
to
they
play
just
the
needed
puppet.
like a Thai accent is what they requested or what they were asked of.
And then what do you think that the winged bat creature that owns Anakin is? Is he I was going to say like Armenian or maybe like
There is people I've heard Turkish,
deep Greek.
It's kind of like Middle East Greek, something like that. And then like he plays on the stereotypes of like he's like a kind of scummy salesman guy, blah blah blah.
Jar Jar's the Jamaican prince.
Yeah, Jar Jar is just a whole mess. There's a lot of things wrong with Jar Jar, and I think
Oh shit.
the fact that he's racist is just one of them.
I don't know if he was one of the racist ones though. I don't know because that one almost like sounds like they were going more for an alien accent.
Yeah. But apparently,
But most heavily influenced by
True.
Jamaican or Caribbean.
apparently the idea, or what it seemed like the idea was, is use these accents to give more of a character, a picture, an image of the character,
Yeah.
without having to know much about him. All these characters we're saying are kind of side characters you just see thrown in, right? So people think, it's a fan theory kind of, the Asian sounding guys are supposed to be about China, becoming capitalist and like producing all of our stuff. They're this big trade federation. You know what I mean? They control, exports and imports type thing. And then the scummy salesman is like supposed to be typical of a guy you maybe would run into running your local auto shop or something, right? They're fucked up, but like
Yeah.
that was the point. So people heard it and I already know what kind of guy this is.
Was it comic relief too? Like for
Yes,
audiences?
in Jar Jar's case, it's I don't know.
All of them though. All of them are pretty campy. They're all like all the
Yeah.
accents are bad.
Yes.
Like
so
they're
like
so bad.
they're not trying to hide it.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be obvious and just like add to the very stereotypical
and they
characters
kept it for
are.
episode 2 also. They just they went full steam ahead. They
Double
went
down.
Full steam ahead, Star Wars. We're looking at you. This isn't cancellation yet. But fuck, dude. Like they were just like, yeah, you know what? We're doubling down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know if they're in it. I know Jar Jar's in it briefly, but
Jar Jar's in number 2, yeah.
But no. I'm talking about 3 now. I'm wondering if they tripled down because I don't remember the Trade Federation motherfuckers in episode 3.
Well, they get
But are they?
killed. They get killed.
I don't think, dude. I think they might be in episode 3, and I'm just not remembering. Now it's like
that's when they
coming
get
back.
murdered at the end when Anakin goes to Mustafar and he kills them all.
Oh.
Spoilers for Star Wars
Oh.
Episode 3.
That came out 2005,
I don't know.
2006 maybe.
I just remember I wasn't allowed to watch it because it was like PG-13.
I think it was
or something.
2000. It had to be 06.
Yeah, I remember I had to wait for it to come out on tape, and then I got to watch it at home while my brother was like being distracted because he wanted to see it, but he wasn't allowed.
06 or 07.
That's how young
Just
we
because
are.
Dooku got decapitated. I think that's the only reason that it was like so inappropriate.
There's also Anakin cut in half, covered in fire. I hate you. That was awful.
Yeah.
Anakin. That's pretty bad. It did win them an Oscar for like
Yeah.
best special effects and like
Which it
makeup or
probably
something
didn't
like
deserve.
that.
They probably got that because it was Star Wars, honestly.
Yeah, but it was a cool scene.
Yeah, it was alright.
It's like
yeah.
it's you.
Could've
It's
been-
very important. This is the thing.
Could have been cooler.
We don't know though, but like everyone was like, "What happened to Darth Vader? Why is he like Darth Vader?"
Yeah.
Imagine if you'd watched him older. I'm
Yeah.
guessing. Then you get to see, oh, this is what happened. He literally got cut in half. He doesn't even have legs.
Technically, I saw episode 1 first when I was 3. My parents
Really?
took it. I don't remember it. I don't remember.
Pod racing.
Yeah.
Sick. Kid.
I had
watch
a
it.
pod racing plate, actually. I had like an
I remember.
Anakin- Yeah, you remember
I
that
remember.
fucking shit. Yeah.
Max had one too. Shout out
Yeah.
Max, old friend of ours.
Yeah.
And I was so jealous that you guys had these cool Star Wars plates. Yeah, they were sick.
Well, dude. How
Probably
come
worth
the
some
Bacons have the cool plates? I want a cool plate.
I want a cool plastic fucking Star Wars plate.
American children are ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
We are ridiculous
I
when
really
we're
wanted that
younger.
shit.
American children are fucking awful. Just little shits, dude.
I know. There's someone has a bit.
All
about
of us.
that.
I was too. So many people have bits about it. Ari Shaffir has a bit about it.
There's something about like the European baby. Oh, Moshe Kasher is about the European babies are like so cute and well put together, and they have nice hats and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's because it's a true phenomenon. It's like that's just like some shit like we as American kids, like I really think about often, like the shit that I would get upset about and like give my parents shit about, like when I was younger. And it's like, dude, like fuck, is that a cultural thing, or is that because I was a shitty kid?
Well,
Or
I guess we can't really speak on it because we don't know.
yeah,
But, I
We
feel
kinda
like
do.
a lot of kids are brats. You know what I mean? Like kids everywhere are brats. There's rules everywhere. Yes, everywhere. There are brats everywhere. Yes, there's some kids who are just born and they're brats. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
And then some of those kids, it's legally allowed to beat them, and then unfortunately, it fucks them up and probably also stops them from being brats. You know what I mean?
yeah,
There's other things in other cultures that they do
yeah,
to raise their children,
yeah.
and some of them are fucked up things like that, and some of them are, maybe better.
I wasn't even
concepts and
speaking
stuff.
bratty though. I was talking about like the fact like it was funny. It
Ah.
was a funny thing that sparked this thought. It's just like something that I do think about sometimes. Like
What do you mean by kids? Give me an age. I'm thinking like little kids.
below high school,
Okay, you mean like
through adolescence.
Pre-teens.
No, but I'm
Pre-teens.
keeping the range of okay, like honestly, 6-year-olds to fucking like 8th graders.
okay, sure, that's a huge range.
K through 8. It's a massive range,
That's
but
like
I
kids who
think
can't
they're
write
all
their name.
I think they're all in the grand scheme of things equally undeveloped,
So
which
are-
is where I would get into my thing about schooling, how it needs to change. But I would say K through 8, they're approximately equally undeveloped.
Yeah, this is a good point. I think middle school is a little different. But so you're pretty much just saying that like we're so ungrateful type kids. Is that the thing?
So
Because it's all
Not
within
necessar-
context.
It is all within context.
We have great things.
yeah,
And because of it, as kids, we expect a certain thing. When we
Yeah.
don't get it, we're upset. In other countries, they
But
don't
also the
have
shit
that.
we also got
They don't
like
know.
yeah, that's true, but also like this the reason that I brought up the cultural aspect is this cultural aspect, like of how you were saying I want those plates, like it's a stupid fucking plastic plate, but like I
Yeah,
guarantee it,
they were
and
cool,
there were
though.
definitely things completely of that nature, thousands of things of that nature that I guarantee I saw at other people's houses and it wasn't at mine, and I went home, I was like, why don't we have this? It sucks.
Yeah,
Why don't
yeah.
we have it here?
I don't know
We
if I
need
did
it.
that, but yeah, I know.
I know I
definitely done
did.
it with
I
some
know I
things.
did.
I definitely
Yeah.
did it with some things.
Yeah, I know I did. I know I verbalized it. And like there was one time where I was like, dude, one of the worst, most shameful moments. And thank God my mother's the genius that she is, bro, and got it on videotape.
Oh my god.
Honestly, it was embarrassing for a long while when I was older to watch, but now I think it's just gold. I think it's just golden. Easter morning. Yeah, when we were kids, you know, you get the Easter bunny basket. For those of you unfamiliar, you get like
For
your
those
parents.
of you non-Catholics.
But they fucking fake like Santa Claus.
It's the same thing.
It's just a not real character that they tell children is real, and he leaves you a basket. Honestly, the first time, that's how I was one of the dumb kids. Maybe we all were, but like I wish I was that one kid that was like, hold up.
No.
At the Easter bunny, at
No.
least, or the tooth fairy.
Dude, that would have sucked. Do you know how sick the Easter bunny is? You're giving up a holiday.
I wish I was ahead of the curve, man.
Why?
It would have been fun.
Why do you feel?
It would have been fun.
What would have been fun about it? You stopped getting candy.
No, because you know, I think it would still happen. You know, you got to keep other kids in the house and family. You know, for shit.
Okay,
if I was the one
fair
that
enough.
wasn't a dick, if I wasn't an asshole, I was just like, wait a second, giant fucking bunny, fat white dude with a beard.
Of course, but like, dude, that's a fun thing. Like, I don't get what's so bad. What do you gain? What do you gain by knowing it besides like, I know it before you?
Nothing. You're right. I'm
You know
probably.
what I mean?
It's probably like a douchey fucking internal.
It's like
thing that I haven't dealt with.
It's kind of like I don't know if it's that, but it's kind of like I wish I was one of the smart kids who figured it out, who cracked the code. Is that what you're saying?
Kinda. I mean, I eventually did.
But the thing is, you don't have to be smart to not know the Easter Bunny's real. You just have to have convincing parents. If your parents were bad at making it,
oh, my dad was so good at the characters.
Then what are you supposed to do?
You're right, but see, it's fucked up, man. It's fucked up. But anyway,
that's a different argument.
It's a totally different story. So the shitty thing that I did on Easter morning was the Easter Bunny had the baskets, and I had a PlayStation 2 at the time. But I'm looking at this basket, and I'm amazed. There's candy. There's a fucking book. This book that I've wanted for a long time called Dragonology. You remember the ology books?
I remember
Wizardology.
Yes,
Dragonology. I was obsessed with that shit. Dragons are real.
The fact that they made like a
Dragons are
history
real.
style book. It
I
could have
still
been
believe.
about a completely fake thing.
Could have been nothing. Could have been absolutely.
So you're complaining about the Easter Bunny, but you were.
I was totally sold on dragons. Yeah, I was totally sold. I was like, no, dude, the way that they can breathe fire makes sense.
Now, one of those you can't even see. The other one gives you free candy and gifts.
The other one is my parents. The other one of them is my parents, and the other one is a mystical creature who could be living deep within the earth, who has a fucking amber stone stuck between his teeth that acts as the sparker to the flames of the toxic fumes that he emits from his stomach.
Yes, of course.
He breathes fire.
I still would pick the Easter Bunny.
Yeah. I mean,
Easter Bunny greater than dragons.
I guess so. So anyway, Dragonology's in there. I'm fucking hype.
Yeah.
And for the PlayStation 2, there's Ratchet and Clank, the newest Ratchet and Clank game.
You got a video game for Easter?
Yes. Yeah.
This is a dub of an Easter.
It was, right?
Until you ruined it.
I ruined it. I ruined the fuck out of it, bro. I ruined the absolute shit out of it. I was so hype. Because this is where I was like, it wasn't necessarily ungrateful. It's just that something about either this upbringing, I don't think it was my parents, because they I know my parents. They definitely, especially the way I got punished after this, like they definitely tried to like knock this shit out. It wasn't like they enabled this. They tried to nip it in the bud, like quick. But I knew that we had to go to the family event, and I knew that we had to, you know, get ready for that. And my mom wanted the morning to be pretty smooth, and there wouldn't really be time to play the game. And I guarantee you I knew at the time.
Oh my God.
Guarantee you I knew at the time
I know where
that
this is going.
I could have played at night. I could have played that night. Like, she would have let me play all night. She would have not given a fuck. I just got it for Easter, probably on Easter break. I could have played the whole night.
Yeah.
She wouldn't have given a single fuck. So my mom's cute, you know, she's like recording and she's trying to keep the tone happy. But now that I'm like, I can't plug it in right away and try the new Ratchet and Clank game right now, I'm getting like more and more serious. I'm way too old in this video. This is like 3rd grade because it was Dragonology. It had to be 3rd grade. And I was just like, you know me, I get visibly upset. And so like I become visibly upset, which isn't good for the camera. It's not good for the recording.
Wow.
Just trying to keep the tempo upbeat, right? Up tone and things like that.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And I think in retrospect, she overreacted a little bit because it's not like I used obscenities. I didn't like, you know,
How old
on
were you?
camera. 3rd grade. It's not like I didn't act out. Here's
8
what I
years
did.
old.
Here's what
8,
I did.
9.
Here's what my angry thing did. I saw that she was recording me and she was trying to like uplift the thing. So I took Dragonology and I just held it over my head. Like I just held it over my face and was just like pouting, like right. But that just sent her over the fucking edge, dude. That just sent her. I ruined the camera moment.
Yeah,
so
you
like,
did.
and now that moment is forever on camera of that. It gets pulled up all the time. But I see shit like that, and I did. Like when I got to late high school, I started reflecting on it and was just like, dude, was like, what was that? Because it was, I know it wasn't my parents, so it was one of two things to me. I was either influenced by friends and American culture and TV to kind of like act that way or do that, or I was shitty at the time.
So that gets
There's
into,
option 3 where I was just a naive kid who doesn't know how to handle his emotions as well. There's that argument in there also.
Yep.
But to me, I usually think about the other two.
Well, that gets into like it gets into like a nature versus nurture thing for sure. I think in this case, you're very young. Your parents didn't raise you that way.
Yeah.
It seems more of a nurture thing.
Yeah.
It was just, you got this thing you really wanted and you finally had it in your hands and you wanted to do it right now. And then someone told you no. And you went, why can't I do it right now?
Yeah.
Like that would be dope. It was like just a true feeling. If this happened again right now, you would have the same feeling.
Yeah.
But now you have learned.
But now I would be like, okay, I'll get to play tonight. And
the restraint, right?
Yeah.
That's what you had to learn in that moment. You probably just hadn't learned that part yet. You had to learn it eventually, and it just had never come up. You know?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I have one like that. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know, my parents might disagree, but I don't think I was the brattiest kid in that kind of way.
I wasn't.
But maybe I had meltdown and stuff. But in my memory, at least I didn't. I used to do stupid shit, but never like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently there was one time, I wish I had a video of it like you do, where so my kitchen floor is like tile, and I took a whole stick of butter and rubbed it all over the kitchen floor and was skating.
That's lit.
That's
not
4.
bratty. That's just that's innovative fun. That's dangerously innovative fun.
Now, dangerous, harder to clean up, right? There's other bad sides of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're gonna hurt yourself, and now I have to mop our entire kitchen.
I mostly got in trouble for things that I think I was a stereotypical, like I wasn't overtly a brat, but like by the terms of stereotypical brat, because for me, I wasn't like, doing crazy fun shit like that. It was usually the things I would say and the subtle like attitudes that would get me the most in trouble.
Yeah. Now, why do you think you got that? Where did you get that skill from?
Daddy.
So I knew that answer. But I wanted you to say it.
From Papa Bacon.
But that's also like it's both a great quality and a bad quality. And in a toddler, it might not be the best quality, but it's good now.
It's great now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like they had to bite the bullet for the early days.
Yeah.
To get you to that.
And honestly, you just need to learn that line of like where it's acceptable.
But you had to figure it out. While other people figure that out later in life, and it's kind of a problem, maybe.
Yeah, can be. Or they just like overcorrect and never know when to let loose.
Yeah, also a problem.
And then sometimes there's the people that like, have you ever let loose in front of like the wrong coworker? Have you ever like talked about the wrong shit in front of the wrong coworker? Dude, I fucked up so many times in front of this one girl at In-N-Out who was a UC Berkeley student at the time. I loved her. She was super nice. She was really kind. Just
typically
definitely some SJW qualities that were a little like
yes,
outward, but like in a passive way. Like she would never like if she heard a comment that she didn't like, she wouldn't tell you to your face that she didn't like it.
She would do like a face in the
she would
background
probably face in the background and tell the manager.
Oh, now that's different.
And tell the manager.
Now,
I still liked her. She was still know fine, but there's snitching, man.
There's one rule in this country.
Snitch. Fucking approach me like a man. Like exactly. Like that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people understand that with neighbors. Like you guys understand that. Like, yo, contact me before you contact the landlord if you have a problem. Or like, like deal with your shit face to face first, and then shit's not solved, if it's not like, because of course if she came up to me and was like, yo, that was fucked up, and I didn't like you said that. Me as a person, I'd be like, shit, my bad. Like, I'm sorry that. I won't cross that line again.
And then if you do it a second time, then of course you.
One time my manager got me in trouble though. My manager that I was tight as fuck with. This dude was sick. We were just bumping some music, and he was like, "Yo, put on Gangsters and Strippers by Too Short," and I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll put it on." The manager just told me to do that. Fuck yeah, dude. And she was working that night.
Very very demeaning towards women, huh?
Do. Gotta get a bitch and get my dick sucked. Do. Gotta get a bitch and get my dick sucked. Do. All I fuck with is gangsters and strippers.
She threw a fit, huh?
an internal one and then told the manager.
Oh, so she didn't even say she sat in it.
Yeah.
She let
and then
the
I
song
got in
play
trouble
out.
even though my manager told me to put it on because they knew I was DJing. And honestly, that dude was such a homie.
He knew what he had to do.
He knew, exactly. And I knew
he knew you could take the hit and he couldn't.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would just get it like stern talking to, just be like, hey, that can't be played for this reason.
Yeah.
If you play good music that doesn't bring up those emotions, you're fine. Of course, I was like 17. I was like, fuck though, it's just a song.
But like to her, that's affecting her work environment.
Which is and it totally is. And I also super. Yeah, I get it a lot more now too because I've been talking to a newer friend of mine more recently in life that I just started to become an acquaintance with, and she was basically talking about like how when you're consuming music, because you and I kind of listen to beats, but like she was really talking about how when you're consuming music and you are paying attention to the lyrics, like it does affect kind of the way you think after a little while. And if you think a certain way and you're paying attention to the lyrics, right, and you hear like one of these rap songs that's just demeaning as fuck, which a lot of them, I hate to say it, they're demeaning as fuck. And definitely sometimes obscene just for the sake of being obscene.
Yes.
Like,
there's a lot of shock.
2001 is the perfect example. It is one of the greatest albums of all time. Musical masterpiece. So obscene for no reason. For absolutely no reason. They talk about like, they basically read porno script in rap form in some of the songs. There is a skit where it's like, it's two porn. Girls. It's porn. Yeah. It's just, it's a porn sketch. That's not actual. Exactly. But nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. It's one of the greatest fucking albums of all time.
But it's going to rub some people the wrong way.
It's going to rub some people the wrong way. And honestly, if you're an 8-year-old listening to 2001 and you're listening to the lyrics and my new friend got me to see that. I never thought about it that way before. Really? I was always the one like, dude, fuck anyone who's against me listening to this shit because I know it's a fucking song. Like,
I know it's a song.
I couldn't apply my brain. I was applying my brain to everybody else. I was like, it's a fucking song. Let me listen to this shit. It doesn't mean I'm going to go do all this crazy shit. Yeah. It's a good song and I fucking love music. Like, let me listen to it. Papa B was pretty fucking cool about that. It was pretty sick. But like, for the most part, like, I was not introduced to the super unruly, unnecessary obscenities until I was of an appropriate age, which I agree was an appropriate age. And now especially now, I've turned around more and was like, all right, man, like I get it. Like a 9-year-old should probably not listen to Eminem. I know they will. Yeah. I know they will. And and of course, should the artist be blamed for kids getting their material? No, not at all. The fact that like he and a bunch of other artists for that reason got sued and fucking like censored. It says parental advisory, bro. Be parents. Fucking make sure you're paying attention to what your kids are listening to and what we make other consuming.
Stuff that's not for kids.
Yeah,
you know, it's
everything.
Not like
anything can be not for kids.
You know, there's rated R movies, right? Yeah. I totally agree. I do think music in that way it's very influential. And something I didn't really get either, but it definitely happened to us too. Because music we listened to even when we were in high school age maybe and in college, that affected what we do. Yeah. I remember I met a friend in college and I played him kind of like our more like trap Atlanta rap that we're into. I was playing 1000 Band Fonnie, Playboy Cardi, that kind of stuff. And they always talk about like, this is 2016, which was like the year of the Xan in rap music. And literally bad year for social things. Yes, very bad. But literally it was like, this music makes me want to do drugs. I've heard that from so many people, right? You listen to Future, you want to sip lean, dude. You know what I mean? You listen to Dr. Dre,
and you want to smoke some weed.
You want to smoke some weed.
You want to smoke some weed.
You do, and I do. So it's affected us that way, right?
I thank God too. That's one thing that like I because in the last episode I was talking about how, or maybe not in the last episode, but there was that one conversation where I was like, I wouldn't have done it. But thank God the one that I did try was weed and I didn't get into drugs like off of Xanax and shit. Yeah. Because like, that's crazy how that's an example of a prescription drug eventually getting abused and it's like crazy. It became like a little epidemic, like right then and there. I don't know if it still is. Is it still bad?
Yeah, I would loop it in with the opioid crisis. Yeah. To be honest, it's a little bit different, but a lot of people get fake Xans, which are often opioids or fentanyl.
But even if you're getting real Xans, I've not good for you. I couldn't know. I've never taken them, but I've seen a lot of people off that shit where I'm just like, you're not a person anymore. Like,
no, it's a very out of body.
It's a sleep drug. Like if you're using it, okay, a responsible Xanax user would take a third of a bar before getting on a 16-hour flight and use it to sleep the whole time.
Like Drake, right? I took half a Xan, 13 hours till I land.
Even half, because they're
out.
divided by 3, aren't they? They're divided
they
into
are.
3. Yeah.
Well, it
so
depends on the ones you get.
Yeah, it does
most
probably
of the
depend
time.
on the prescription too. You should
Yeah.
listen to your fucking doctor.
Totally.
Like with this
You
shit.
shouldn't be taking drugs you're not prescribed to. But the thing is, those songs like encourage that kind of thing. And like we didn't listen to that stuff when we were super young, but now with the internet, my brother, your sister, their age, right? They're 4 years younger than us. So when we're in high school, they're in middle school. It's exactly chunked up.
Yep.
So we're in high school listening to this drug music, but we have a little bit more knowledge to go, okay, well, we're not going to go do all these hard drugs. They're like children, who these are their idols and like influences and people they want to be and people who think are cool. I want to be like that guy. So of course you do it.
Yeah.
If all your idols are saying, I do this, then you do that. You know what I mean? It does definitely affect kids really strongly, but it could be film. It could be TV, but like,
but that's the thing. And that's the thing. I always recognized it with film and TV. I really didn't recognize the impact that music could have. I actually, I always separated it because I was always like, there's no way anybody could have a crazy adverse reaction to some fucking lyrics in a song.
Well,
like that's really how I felt. Like that's really how I perceived the issue. Like whenever I was told you can't play this song after work or you can't play this song in a school setting or no cussing in the songs, it's like, for me, I was like, dude, like,
it's just because music became more real and more self-reflective. And more about the person. When you're listening to, when we grew up, let's say you're listening to like, I don't know, like Green Day's pretty bad in that aspect. They curse
in certain
a lot.
regards. Yeah,
They
definitely.
say a lot of like fuck religion or stuff like that. Kind of like the whole.
Don't want to be an American.
Right.
Idiot.
But
they're calling out the whole country.
But you see, it's more hidden. It's not a direct thing. Like, we're singing, I want to be an American idiot. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah. You listen to that song now, very deep political undertones that I did not understand at all.
There's one part where
I did not get it at all.
No, there's tons of stuff like that. And they sing it in a silly way and we don't get the references.
Yeah.
But now music's more stripped down. It's not about coming up with a clever innuendo to something else. It's more like saying it how it is in detailed. And rap, not saying all rap music's like this, but rap allows you to fit more words into the song. Yeah. So you can be more detailed, you can be more elaborate, you can be more on point.
Yes.
So it allows pretty much the more lyrics, the more you can describe.
But sometimes, okay, so here's this though. So sometimes kids are exposed to that shit anyway. And like someone like Biggie or Pac, right? Like they basically take these kind of like generally frowned upon things, drug use, gun violence, gang violence, fucking breaking the law,
it works
shit like
just
that,
as well in the other way.
turn it. Kendrick too. I don't think Kendrick partook as much as I don't think at all.
Well, he has that
Biggie
song.
and Pac
What's that one?
did.
Swimming or drowning or whatever. The song. It doesn't matter.
But I think that like they take those concepts and create something beautiful with the English language with it, and it can be taught to kids. Like I was listening to "Come On" by Biggie today. You could do an entire section of an English class on like how he used the English language in that song. But the whole time he's talking about how he's a street hard motherfucker who you don't fuck with like at all.
So those are two different things. And you have to be of a certain education and an adult to be able to break it down like that and look at the nuances and ignore the other parts. We're just kids listening to music. Yeah. You take what you get. So you go, I want to be a hard motherfucker and I want to sell drugs and I want to get bitches. Yeah. And like, that's what you take away from it. They're not going to go and break down like, oh, the lyrical rhyme scheme here is so detailed. Like, you're a kid.
I know. I just still feel like there's a certain percentage of that type of music that should be okay for them to, but then again, it's just the human brain. Like I still want to cling to that belief that music is music and anyone should have access to it at any point.
I agree with that. There's definitely some things that kids should not be listening to. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
But I think
it's undeniable. Like,
but the way to do
it's
it,
undeniable.
The way to do it is actually not, I don't think to like ban the music. It's to improve the teaching and the language around it. So for example, your dad will let you listen to some songs because he's willing to teach you and break it down and be like, hey, these things aren't good. This is just a good song. You know what I mean? He taught you in that way. If you don't have other role models and other people guiding you, and all you have is this music, and you just found it on your own.
All you have is Slim Shady,
right? That's where it gets to become more of a problem. It's if you have a good support system around you to allow for it. It's just that kids will kind of get lost in these worlds or like pockets of the internet.
Yeah, all you have is I've been eating Percocet like I've been eating food.
Exactly.
Like
And
that.
you're like, I want to take Percocet.
That's crazy.
And that's why they think the younger generation, and we see it a lot, is way into harder drugs than we were.
Yeah.
Like we knew people who took, I guess, harder drugs like Xanax and stuff in high school, but it was more rare. And this has been slowly happening over time. Like when our parents were in school, weed was that same thing.
Yeah.
The stoners weren't cool. The stoners were like those kind of weird kids who did their own thing, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't cool to smoke weed. Now that's the standard.
Yeah.
And drinking. And then like, oh, those kind of weird kids doing Xanax in the corner. Whoa.
Yeah.
Like what are they sniffing, right?
Yeah.
And then now that's standard. So what's the next thing? It just feels
that's
like
standard now amongst children?
Not standard, but there's
Jesus
definitely there's a lot of kids like high school age that do that kind of stuff.
More rare amongst youth nowadays?
Dude, I don't know anyone
sure.
who's straight edge. I mean,
yeah, I don't really either.
We grew up in the Bay Area and the East
even
Bay.
When I went out to Reno,
it's different.
And when I go to other places, I mean, I feel like there are people who. I
just mean like
that's unfair to say because there's definitely people who are straight edge everywhere.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you could be in Utah, growing up Mormon, all your friends are Mormon.
Yeah.
You're not gonna find these things. But so I think that's part.
I guess this is just more common, but maybe not.
It just,
I mean, like it's not like it's not always been around. So.
I just feel like we're up in the ante. And I don't know why that's happening. I think conservative people might argue that since we're normalizing and legalizing things like weed and other drugs, it's raising the bar. I don't believe this, but I think that's kind of why people are against making all drugs legal and stuff like that. Is because culturally it makes them seem more okay, more known, more accepted. We're not going to shun you for this, right? It's like it'll be fine.
Yeah,
and
but
it just
social shunning isn't the answer.
Exactly,
Social isolation is not the fucking answer.
I think the way to do
part
it
of the problem
would be to legalize it for everything, for adults who really need help and stuff like that, and then increase the education amongst youth
for sure
about why it's bad. But I think you can't have one without the other. You know what I mean? If all drugs become legal and we just say yeah and we let it free range, there's going to be some downsides.
There's not going to be no downsides, of course, but I don't think kids increasing the amount of kids. I think it would decrease.
Just strictly on access, it would have to increase.
I don't think so because I think the access under correct supervision would be more limited. It's not coming in more sketch ways. I feel like it's way easier for a kid to grow up right now, per se, or maybe maybe early. Maybe still. I don't know. I don't know what it's like in Baltimore or in. I'm just trying to think of a random city. I like The Wire a lot, so that's why Baltimore came to head in terms of this.
Let's break it down to what we know.
Yeah.
You're in high school, and you want to sip lean.
Okay.
How do you do it? You would have no idea how to get lean.
I'd have no idea. I have
now,
no clue.
There's a store that sells lean. How do you get lean? You just find someone to buy you lean and give it to you who can. It's just like alcohol. Right? I'm just saying.
I guess I don't know if it would be like a store though. It's more like my idea behind when I argue for the legalization of drugs.
I understand.
When I argue it, I say there's got to be a way where you'd have to go to the facility, fill out a bunch of paperwork, and do it there.
Yeah, but like
not just get to leave with it and go fucking party at your house.
Well,
you're gonna be shooting your smack in a fucking medical facility.
Here's the thing though, lean is a legal drug
that's been abused. Yeah, so
that you can get. And there's people who have whole businesses off of having fake scripts, getting prescription codeine cough syrup, and selling it.
So the fact that that's a legal medicine already and it's being abused doesn't necessarily help the point, doesn't necessarily argue against legalizing drugs.
What I'm just saying is if you increase access, there's going to become more of those people.
Yeah, but weed was illegal for a long time. People were probably getting
There's more people getting high now than ever before because it's so easy. There's so many old people who stopped smoking weed because like, I don't have a drug dealer. How would I get this? A dispensary opens up and I think this is a good thing. And they go, I don't have to like go to a shady part of town and blah, blah, or whatever they have preconceived notions.
Someone else's car.
You know what I mean? They're old, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what they're thinking. And it's like, I can just go to this nice
back parking lot, like the Target parking lot, the landing.
Well, maybe back then it was like that. I don't know. But like, I'm just saying like, it will just have more access. There will be more drugs. And it just worries me. Because like in our area, right? We're in a city more so, right?
Yeah.
Where those things are there. If you're in a small town, there's like no way you're getting lean, right? let's not use lean because lean is a legal prescription drug. Let's say meth. There's no way you're getting meth.
There's way more of a chance you're getting meth in these small towns.
Okay, maybe some of them.
Because it's illegal. No, probably a lot of them. Probably a lot more than we think because it's not being distributed, honestly. And that's I think part of the thing. Like, the drugs are here. We know they're here. Right now, they're funding a whole war against the drug trade.
For adults, I agree. I'm just worried about kids. That's like all I'm saying.
I
agree. Adults can figure it out.
I think we have to try it first before we can say it's going to start making kids want to experiment with smack and cocaine.
I want to try it, but we need to also have the education for the kids to make sure that doesn't happen. Why would we just? Are we just going to wait and experiment with this whole next generation? Like,
it might be better, right? So imagine a smack addict. Hold up. No, not like waiting to try.
Okay. Not talking about experimenting.
I had my own thought that I out loud said, "Hold up, that might be a better idea than the way I've been saying."
Yeah, we could just fuck 20 years of kids.
No. Like, that actually might be better for protecting kids. Legalizing drugs might be better for protecting kids, especially of like falling victim to these types of to this type of lifestyle. Because if a smack addict has a kid and the free clinic is offering to give her smack and in a safe environment, she's going to come in with the kid and they're going to be like, you have a kid here and you're here to do heroin. All right. That baby's going to come with us for a little while, right? Like, right there. Problem solved.
I'm not talking about children of addicts. I'm just talking about kids who want to get into it for whatever reason.
You're saying like the suburban white kid who's 15 and is like, heroin's legal now.
That's who does the hard drugs nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, it's like alcohol, right? If you're a kid, alcohol is very easy to get, right? And weed wasn't, and no other drugs were. Alcohol was the easiest one to get. Why? Because it's legal for adults. Yeah. Now weed is legal for adults. What's the next easiest drug to get? Weed. I just feel like it's guaranteed that it will be easier to obtain for the youth, which makes it more common. Which is why prescription drugs have gotten so big, because they're easier to obtain. Kids can steal Xanax from their mom's counter.
Yeah.
They're less likely to find some meth dealer somehow, right? If you're a high schooler kid.
Well, that's also in California. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like some of the rural parts of the country, there's just like, I guarantee you there are 15-year-olds in rural Kentucky that can find meth wherever they want, or rural New Mexico.
But what's easier still? The legal ones. There's no way alcohol isn't the easiest drug to get in any city in this country, right?
Yeah.
There's no way it's easier for you to get meth than alcohol. And so I would just worry if we don't have the right protections around legalizing these drugs and education.
Yeah.
That similar thing could happen.
Yeah.
Because that was the fear with weed, and weed's luckily not that bad.
Yeah.
Right? But obviously way more people are doing it now. Like, that's just a fact.
Yeah.
Like, way more kids, way more adults, everyone.
Yeah.
So the worry is that would happen with the other drugs if we don't do it the right way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a dangerous line to walk. And it's just whenever we make...
I just think for the adults who are already addicted,
who we're trying to help.
That's the population that would help the most, like, for sure.
Yes.
Maybe and also adults in jail for drug related crimes and things like that. Like, if it's drug related violence, you probably won't get reversed.
Decriminalizing,
like
there's no reason why we shouldn't do that.
Exactly.
That's
use especially, but also sales. Sure. But the problem is, I feel like there's probably usually a lot of violence involved in sales that maybe I'm not considering. But still, the fact that, like, a lot of people are serving for slanging some tree.
People should be able to make a living. Yeah. I think that's fair. If people are so, free market economy, to let them sell the drugs.
I guarantee you there are a lot of addicts that would maybe former addicts who would disagree with me right now because they've found the light in another way by not having it. But that's what I'm saying. Yes, but hold up. But still, I think maybe they wouldn't disagree with so my idea, I don't even know if I've illustrated my idea yet. It would literally just, like, you have these facilities that are government run. They're run by the city. Okay. Somebody could pull up, maybe... I mean, obviously, zoning and spacing is a whole nother thing, but there's multiple sections of the building. There's one section where if you wanted to, all drugs are legal, but they're only available here. That's like really like, and that's the thing, I think, because then having drugs anywhere else outside of that spot will be able to be cracked down on way more.
So would that still be illegal? It's illegal to do the drugs?
To illegally sell?
No, I'm just saying it's illegal to do crack on the street. It's only legal inside this building. I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying. It's a very fine line. I like the idea of like, you have to use the drug there. You can't take it out.
Yeah. Of course, some people are going to get it out. And do I think they should be criminalized for using on the street if they're homeless? No. No, I don't. I don't think that should be criminal.
I'm not talking about criminalized. I'm just saying like obviously I don't want any people to go to jail for drugs. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
If someone
for using or selling.
If someone is involved with drugs, selling's different. Let's say if someone's using drugs, right? They should be helped. They should not be thrown in jail.
Yeah.
Right. I'm talking.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so
that's different.
That's what leads to the next part of the facility.
Decriminalizing.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily making drugs legal. So how do we go about making the drugs legal? Are you saying?
I don't know. So maybe is that the answer then? Is it decriminalizing so that they can
I think
do
it's the first step
in these facilities?
I think it's the first step.
Because like my whole concept behind it, I'm just like, okay, because like I worked in the Tenderloin all summer. In San Francisco. The Tenderloin district of San Francisco. It's if you don't get if you're in San Francisco, I actually recommend going. I recommend just
you'll never go.
Just peep it.
You won't,
because it'll give you an education. It'll let you know what's up.
You should, but you won't go.
The worst part of the city about it is like I really think that it's just like there just needs to be available help. There just needs to be available help. And sometimes the way you're going to get people to that help is offering what they desire the most, which is these hardcore fucking life ruining horrid drugs. And if you have a system in which you can give them you can give those substances to these people in a setting where if something bad happens to them medically because of the drugs, they're ready to be taken care of. If it goes really bad, they're ready to be handled right there and go off to coronary or
if they die,
if they die, it's easier than discovering it 3 days later.
We would stop that.
Hopefully, you would stop that from happening, and that's what I'm saying. It's there to at least make the effort to stop.
Well, let's say the goal is that doesn't happen because they're not going to give them a lethal dose of anything.
No. Of course, yeah. Okay, you're right. Yeah.
There's no way like the doctor's like, oh, whoops, I gave you too much crack.
Michael Jackson. I don't know. There's some doctors that might just be like, all right, it's fucking heroin we're talking here. They've killed people with prescriptions.
There's going to be flukes. There's going to be flukes, but so. Okay, let me just like ask a couple questions about the system. I get it.
Okay, and then just before you ask your questions, and then the next part is rehabilitation. There is rehabilitation right there, available right there. You have door A, which is go, you smack. Door B, people who are here to help you, and it's right there in front of you every single time you choose to go to the facility.
I don't think that's not going to do a lot.
You don't think
people walk by rehabs all day, every day, man?
Yeah.
What's the difference that it's next to the place you do heroin?
I don't know.
I will say
you're right. See, there's I guess a lot of facets about this I don't know.
Well,
I've heard a lot of good arguments for it.
No, let me break
ask your questions.
Yes, let me break it down and see where we end up.
Okay.
I like it. I like that they have to use it there under the guidance of someone. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Now, do they just get to walk out after? Is where I'm a little bit iffier. I think they I don't know how you require someone to then go through rehab, but I think if we're going to give these people free drugs, they should be put in some sort of program or something.
You have to show up to get the drugs?
Well, you have to show up to get the drugs, but maybe you just have to do a little bit more. Maybe it's like you have to go to like an AA style type meeting, and then you can also use there. Or you have to see a counselor, or you have to talk to a doctor. Like there has to be something more than just like check in, drugs, check out, I think. Because the whole point is we're trying to help these people, right? So you can provide the drugs for them and put them in a program. Yeah. Now, so that's where I'm like, you can't just let them walk out. That's why when you've mentioned this idea before, and you said
I talk about it all the time.
First time you said it was first floor free drugs, second floor instead of A and B, second floor counseling. In my mind, in the most simple sense, it's the other way around. You need to go through the counseling to get the free drugs. And then, of course, you're not going to be like bound to that place.
Yeah.
You can be in a 12-step program allowed to use 12-step, you would have to be sober. So a 12-step-ish program, right? And allowed to use and slowly be weaned off of it. You could be switched to methadone or other type of drugs that are like allow you to get your fix but aren't harming you as much. There's more. It's going to be regulated, so you can slowly wean people off drugs in this way with a doctor. So there should be a program to do that. I don't think it's just go get free drugs and leave. I think it's like you have to be part of a program.
Yeah.
Because like there are replacement drugs that give
makes
people
sense.
Like heroin addicts or other painkiller opioid addicts will take methadone or other stuff that are like will, allow them to survive. Because some people that are addicted to these drugs, if they withdraw, they'll have seizures and stuff like that. You can't go cold turkey. Like if you're a hard Xanax addict, you can't really go cold turkey. You'll have seizures. You could die all the time. It happens all the time. So you need to be under supervision of someone to slowly get you down. So I think that should be the goal. There has to be like a way to get them to stop in the end.
Fuck.
And if they don't ever stop, that's okay, but you're at least trying and putting an effort towards, right?
That's what I'm saying, because you're not going to fix everybody. And
No.
honestly,
But you have to at least make them go through it.
the drug will overtake them. Like it'll overtake them. And
you're arguing that if you're going to go with that angle, which I'm not sure about, you're going to slow down that process by giving it to them.
so either slow it down long enough to get them help,
Yeah.
or continue to fuel it. And at that point, I would say it's their decision. If they want to take doing these drugs to the grave, then because they'll find the money to do it. Like it's not like they're free. It's not like we're giving it. We keep saying give drugs too.
Yeah.
Still have to purchase.
You still have to pay.
It still has to be the purchase.
I actually don't like that part.
Really?
Well, because if they have to purchase it, then there's less incentive for them to go. In my scenario, they have to get care, right?
Yeah.
We're going to make these people who don't want to get help now pay to get help. Doesn't really make sense.
And heroin.
Yeah, but they can get heroin already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can suck dick for heroin. What I'm saying is if we have them...
How the fuck do you fix this problem, dude? How
Well, that's what I'm
do we
saying.
get there?
If you make them have to go through some sort of program or something with it, then it can be free because you have to go to the program, right? That's your payment. It's like pretty much like this. If someone could help you stop doing drugs, right? They're like, let me do this for you, right?
But see,
I'm gonna make you go to a counselor.
part of my whole thing is I don't think drugs are going to be legalized if money's not being made off of them, because everybody knows how big the fucking market is on it.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no way of us getting there without there being some monetary incentive, unfortunately.
Well, that's arguing that like,
look at how much fucking, why we got legalized and probably will be legalized by the federal government. Look at those fucking look at those fucking taxes.
Which is the reason why you're right. It hasn't been passed as like a law or anything, but it's not like directly making anyone lose money. It's only making essentially criminals lose money. It's not like, I mean, maybe, but is the cartel lobbying Washington, D.C.? Maybe.
No, but I guess also somebody would have to keep making. Also, that's a factor I didn't consider ever
the government
until just now.
Starts making the drugs.
Somebody has to fucking make the drugs.
Yeah. So it gives.
So that's what I'm saying. So who
gives those people jobs?
That's not.
But they're gonna make way less money.
Yeah.
But also, this is my thing: is that the drugs they will make won't be fake. They won't be laced.
Yeah.
And that will save so many lives. Because the reason why I said you're like the drug will take over. They're much more likely to die on the street because of the bad conditions.
Yeah.
As well as you can get fake stuff that will kill you. You'll just overdose.
Yeah.
If you have a doctor administering it, you should never overdose or take too much or get the wrong stuff or anything like that. That part stops. So you save a lot of lives and you get people off the streets. If you give them a home to sleep in and you say you get as much drugs as you want, pretty much for the most part, right? We fuel this and we also give you help. I just think that's the biggest thing. It's pretty much like rehab where you can still use drugs. Because right now you can't go to rehab unless you're sober. And that's like the hardest part.
So here's more of a nurture nature type situation. So at that point, if you nurture people enough, will they come to the light, or will their nature take over and they're just like, fuck it, now I just free drugs till the day I die and still like not ever turn around? Like how many people are going to be naturally inclined to not continue not receiving help and continue just going on this path?
I'm confused about the nurture nature.
Well, because you're trying to nurture them out of addiction. You're trying to nurture them out of addiction.
So are you saying it's in their nature that they're drug addicts?
Yeah.
I don't think that's true. Most people aren't like, no one's born I don't think anyone's born a drug addict necessarily. People can have tendencies for sure. I don't think anyone's just like, nah, you're gonna become a drug addict when you're born. That's nature. Nature this is what you were dealt.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's necessarily that. But pretty much what you're saying is, can you help someone?
That's I think what I was trying to get at. I think I was just trying to make a call back and did it horribly.
It's okay.
Did it really wrong.
I just wanted to get the question right. That's
all. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did that.
So pretty much what you're saying is, can people be helped?
Yeah,
to
like
stop
is there
being
going to be
addicts?
is there going to be a certain
Yes, bro. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
There's tons of people in recovery today.
yeah.
So all we're doing is making it easier for people to get into recovery and go
Yeah.
back to their regular lives by allowing the drugs to be legal, so people aren't thrown in jail instead of getting help, or people aren't taking the first step and going to rehab just because they can't get sober. Right?
Yeah.
It's just allowing the barrier to entry is less. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, because like I'm saying, if you're Xanax addicts and you'll have seizures when you withdraw, and I have to get sober to go into this rehab facility, what do you do? I want to get clean, but I can't get clean because I might die, right? What's the option?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you could go to the center, slowly wean off, like it just would allow more people to get help, I think.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will get helped. A lot of people, it won't work out, and that's always what happens. Or people will get good for a little bit and maybe have a relapse, come back. Like I think with addiction, it's a constant struggle. They don't they're addicts for life. When you're an addict, it's a disease. People, at least in the 12-step program approach, is that addiction is a disease, and a higher power essentially lifts it or helps you with it, or saves you essentially.
Yeah.
That's their mindset. Maybe that's not right, whatever, but it works for a lot of people. So
if it works for you, it works for you.
And the 12-step program has literally saved so many people's lives.
Yeah.
So obviously it works.
It's always weird. Bourdain, in an interview I was just watching tonight, I was getting a little feeling like you're in those moods where you're like, let me make myself a little sad.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Or
I don't get
or
like
you
that a
want to
lot.
watch something that you know is going to make you sad, but like you want to watch it.
Yeah,
anyway,
you're okay with
yeah,
being sad. Sure.
Exactly. So I started watching some Bourdain interviews because like I knew inevitably I'm going to be sad watching that, but he had some great stuff to say. And there was one where he was talking to a group of addicts, and he very bluntly was talking about how he refuses to call it a disease. How it was more just like him feeling missing parts of himself. And maybe it was like you said, more like just kind of like habit or instinctual, and like not instinctual, because instinctual would be natural, and more like a disease.
It's an addiction.
Yeah, he was saying it was more like
it's a deeply ingrained habit that he picked up.
And he knew he was he was like, I don't have a sickness. It's like I'm capable of re-tricking myself, which
the argument for that, I guess one thing would be maybe he didn't go that deep down the rabbit hole. You don't need to be saved unless you're deep in the hole, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I think he was deep in the hole.
Who knows, right? Nobody knows.
He puts in his books. He was pretty deep in
I
the hole.
believe, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, you could have stronger willpower than most.
True.
He's obviously a special human being.
True.
Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
So that's fine too if that works. But the thing is, there are people who are so down bad, for lack of a better term, that like they need to be saved. They feel it's out of their control. They're so addicted that they have to go get these things. I've met people like that.
It's in my family with alcohol.
Yeah.
I met, I not only met,
it's a disease.
I was family with, I don't know. I don't know what my opinion is on it, because I've struggled with my own addictions. And I don't like to look at it as a sickness. Like I do have an addictive personality.
So yes, but you haven't been like,
and I'm not comparing my addictions to anybody else at all. And there's been way worse. And
so
I've prevented myself from doing way worse because I know myself so well.
Got into the part where you need to be saved. And physical addictions like that, it gets to a different level.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, I mean, I've known you forever. I've never seen you do things that I've seen addicts do. I could tell you an addict by their behavior rather than what they're smoking. You know what I mean? Yeah. You will see it. You'll see how they act. They, it's just like short-term pleasures. Yeah. Like it's symptoms of a disease. You know what I mean? And you've never shown those symptoms, which means you can be addicted to something just like you're addicted to, working out. Right. Yeah. It's there's a difference between a strong habit, and addiction. Mm-hmm. Maybe Anthony Bourdain was strong enough to hold it as a very strong habit. Yeah. But I do think there are some people who, and depending on their background and what they have their support system, need to just feel saved. Right. Yeah. I think it's a little bit of a trick to get people to be like, because they're so in their head that they can't do it. Right. Yeah. That they need to think someone else helped. But really, they did it themselves. Yeah. Of course they did. Of course they did. They should feel happy that they did it, right? But
And there's
part
people
of
who study this shit. Like, these are complex issues.
Yes.
Like, there's people who go deep into the psychology
yeah.
of all this shit. Like, I'm only on the fucking surface. I can
No,
only
we
speak
don't know
from
anything.
personal.
We don't know anything. This is just.
But like,
from
fuck.
what
Like,
we've
I feel
seen.
like there's. But like, I just wanted to say that because I feel like there has to be another way, Alex. There has to be another way of like, not making people think it's anybody else but themselves. And I feel like maybe labeling the disease makes it feel like I need that doctor to cure me of the disease.
Well, no,
instead of
it's
like,
never put in that way though.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's
You
a
said
higher power. It's God, is what they tell you, and you're allowed to make that higher power whatever you want.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be God. It can just be the higher power, the energy.
Yeah.
It's just that something else. It's one of the final steps because it's something else gave you that edge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, because there are certain people who felt like they could never do it themselves.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you do all of this, it will work kind of more magically so, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing is, it does work because of everything else, not because they got saved maybe. But you're right. It's a whole psychology thing. And it's actually something I almost studied. I almost went to study psychology. I wanted to do like addict work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Didn't get into it enough, which is why I don't know anything. But I could still go and get my master's in it, I guess. But it's super interesting to me. And it's plagues this country. Like, it ruins
heavily
this country.
It's crazy, man.
And it's equal opportunity employer. Anyone can get addicted to drugs, right? It happens more in bad neighborhoods. You know what I mean?
Bad neighborhoods. I think
Air quotes.
So I think we actually felt the need to do that. Just quick comment. I think you can easily say bad neighborhoods, realize that socioeconomic status is bound to nothing else but socioeconomic status.
Yes.
There are bad neighborhoods everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are, no matter what the, predominant, no matter what the predominant percentages of the community are in any aspect outside of socioeconomic.
Yeah.
Socioeconomic status is kind of a thing everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
and sometimes...
And drugs are more prone to be on the lower socioeconomic.
And sometimes certain races are pushed to be lower socioeconomic levels.
Yeah, for sure.
Different thing. Different conversation. But
different
point
conversation.
Is, anyone can become an addict.
Yeah.
And certain people
and that's the thing
more
also,
likely too.
But also kind of once maybe it's like the lowest end of the socioeconomic status, and then in the middle it's like you're safe, and then when you get to the highest, because you need more, they often say that's why these fucking rich guys.
You're talking about like the richest of the rich guys.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why they do crazy shit.
Yeah, they need to feel alive.
Shit. Hitler was addicted to meth. Fucking, I guarantee you, like all these politicians are doing crazy drugs.
That was more of like a whole propaganda control the people type shit.
Oh, really?
Right. Well,
okay.
Partially is that to make.
They weren't just trying to get high. You don't think it was like, we can do whatever we want. Let's just try this shit.
It was like given out to all the members of his crew pretty
just
much
to make them crazy.
To kind of get everyone on the same level.
Yeah.
And made it more okay that you're doing these fucked up things because you're high all the time. Was it planned? We'll never know.
Yeah.
But
with I was just kind of like saying like it would be interesting if it was like more likely to impact the lowest and the highest socioeconomic status, because a lot of the stories you see about these fucking really rich, famous, whether they're famous or not, honestly, these really rich people, is there's more temptation to do that shit as well. It's probably way less prevalent in like the middle class. The ones that, actually, George Carlin has a great bit about the middle class being the ones who keep the fucking country running. The rich are there to control them, to take all the money and fuck them up the ass all day, and the poor are there to scare the shit out of the middle class. I think that's his exact like wording on it. Genius fucking bit, but super true. You're just like, I mean, fuck. So maybe the drugs like evade the middle class more, but maybe also this with time conversations have to progress. Who knows? Maybe the middle class will be the most impacted by it now, because we're seeing this rise in people listening to music with it, kids listening to it younger and younger, having more access to prescription drugs, and maybe eventually illegal ones.
There's a lot of nuances in those levels. Middle class is very vague, and the middle class is really disappearing in this country. Yeah. So there's the upper and the lower. I will also say that typically the reason why you don't see the middle class is because if a middle class person got addicted to drugs, they would become poor, because you can't be a functioning addict at a lot of jobs, right?
Yeah.
Especially
if you're in the insane ones.
If you're already a millionaire,
you
can become a drug addict.
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah. You only see it at those levels, because if you could have a regular job and then you start doing heroin, most people can't be functioning
Yeah.
in that way in every day. There are some, right? There's very functioning alcoholics and a lot of other drugs, right? But that's a different thing. So that's why I feel like you don't see any in the middle for the most part. But you actually probably see more of the unhappy with their life, drink every day, drink right as you get off work, smoke every day. I mean, maybe do a little whatever, you know, like who are just unhappy with their lives.
Yeah, it's just like it's such a problem, man. And it's crazy like how we guy here from talking about like kids listening to music, but like I mean, but like it's true, man. Like it really is. Like
it's really
it plagues our culture because it's all over. It's all over. It's weird. We demonize and glorify drugs almost equally in this country. Dude, come on. I mean,
I don't think it's equal though. I don't think we demonize drugs that much.
You think we glorify them more than we demonize them?
For sure.
Wow.
I mean,
I think drugs are pretty demonized.
And
in general,
where do you see it?
In schools, we didn't
even have to do DARE when we were in school. They got rid of that.
Yeah, but I mean, nobody's like.
Did we have an anti-drug class or like someone talk to us about it?
We had assemblies occasionally, but I mean, like I know there's still Red Ribbon Week. They still do that at schools.
Yes.
In public schools too. We have to remember we're not in public school. I know they still do it in public schools.
I agree, and there are the anti-drug programs at public schools too. But it's not as much as it's being glorified too. Dude.
So you think drugs are more glorified?
Every kid on their phone, if they went on Instagram, they just scrolled once. Something to do with drugs, probably. There's a good chance if they're into current pop culture. Their favorite rapper is Lil Uzi, which is probably a ton of people, or Travis Scott. He talks about drugs in all of his songs, right? Travis Scott's biggest song was Antidote, exclusively about drugs, right?
Yeah.
Every little kid.
Yeah.
Don't you open up that?
He got a McDonald's deal. McDonald's deal.
But see, since he's honestly maybe. It was less words in the chorus at least. Antidote is not directly saying I'm doing a bunch of drugs. It's kind of more of an innuendo.
Nuanced. Yeah. It's more nuanced.
Maybe the bars in between are not, but so it's just I just think it's very glorified in this country. The biggest shows, right? Stuff like Euphoria, you know, which I think is great. It's also educational in a way.
It's real. It's also real. Like this shit does happen. So I don't think we should hide people from it.
And that's why it's good it's on HBO.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense that way.
Because not everything is for kids. We already do it with...
But like Skins was a UK show, which is pretty much Euphoria before Euphoria. And it got to the US on MTV and got canceled off the air because it was too crazy. Because in the show, it's literally showing high schoolers doing hard drugs, having sex, all this crazy shit. And it's just like some people will take that and get the lesson. But some people who don't have everything else around
see it, they'll be like, that's the shit.
Yes. Yeah. I know so many people who would watch that show and be like, yo, you guys trying to take acid this weekend? That looked dope. And it's just like, no, that's not what you're supposed to take away from this.
Yeah.
But it's because it's glorified. Like, that shit looks cool, bro. Like, it does. Like, it sucks to say, but like, when you're a kid.
And when they're rapping it, they make it sound cool. And when you're singing about it, they make it sound cool. And when you're putting it in films, sometimes you make it look cool. I don't know. If you saw the Pulp Fiction scene, I think you'd stay far away from hard drugs.
There's some stuff like that. And there's probably songs about the horrors of drugs as well. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But, for sure.
Yes. But I think they're outweighed by songs of drugs are great, drugs are the best. Yeah. And it's just people don't
So are there people in this country who want There are people. Actually, you know, I would feel safe asserting there are for sure people who want the drug epidemic to stay thriving. I guarantee it. I guarantee there
What do you mean?
I don't know. If it's such a problem, if it's so pushed and glorified in culture, if we haven't really come up with a solution, there have to be people funding keeping it alive.
No, we just don't want to. We just don't.
I disagree. Maybe this is getting a conspiracy. Maybe I'll play the conspiracy hand here because this is not factually based.
Before you get too deep, I just want to say one thing. So that plan we came up with right now.
Yeah.
Do you know how much money that would cost?
Tons.
That's
fuck tons. Literal shit tons.
You realize that like conservatives literally. That's all they really vote on is like, this is going to cost a ton of money. They all voted against the most recent stimulus check. They don't want to give Americans free money. Why are they going to give drug addicts and homeless people beds and doctors and therapists? It's nothing about like... Because the cartel is paying them under the table.
No, that's not what I meant. I meant like there's definitely like people at the pharmaceutical companies who probably thrive off of
that's fair.
Of legal drug abuse.
But they would sell more drugs now. when they became legalized and pushed out through these centers.
Yeah. Fuck, there's so many flaws in my argument.
No,
I just think it's on the right track.
The only flaw is that it would cost money for the government. That's the only thing. And it would raise taxes. That's the big thing. It would raise a lot of taxes.
Yeah.
And why do I need to pay for this drug addict loser to get his ass off the street?
Because they're not. And most of the time they're just in some fucked up situation.
Yeah. But like that's
since birth.
I think that's the real debate. It's also, and that's a lot of debates. It's pretty much like, do you let people figure it out on their own, or should we help everyone at the cost of each person's individual gain? Do we it's like, this is the margin, right? Like the poorest at the bottom and the highest is the richest people. We just need to squish that down.
Yeah.
But the people at the top don't want to get squished down, but the people at the bottom want to get squished up. Right?
Uh-huh.
So that's our fight. It's going like this. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, or the rich get poorer and the poor get richer. And obviously the rich people who also run the country don't want to get poorer. I feel like that's the root of it in a lot of ways.
Of all of this shit?
I mean, yeah. Why? If you ask anyone, hey, if you could stop millions of deaths from drug abuse in this country, would you do it? They'd go,
yes.
Yeah. Now it's going to cost people who make over $1 million 5% of that money. Do you still want to do it? If they have over $1 million, they're going to go, no. Doesn't benefit them at all, right? They can pay for private treatment for their family members who might be addicts, right?
Yeah.
And all they would do is lose money. If you're thinking solely personally, why would you ever do that, right? I'm just trying to give you their perspective.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
no, because it's not a.
The other perspective
it's not necessarily an invalid one. It's just kind of like, I mean, yeah, dude, like
it's selfish. I think it's a little selfish
because there's a lot of problems that can be fixed. There's like, I feel like we could. I feel like I get so frustrated and like I argue things that I'm not like fucking fully knowledgeable about.
Yeah,
and
we're figuring this out. Like
not
as
only
we go.
That, but it's like I really shout out to Stefano, man, because there has to be another way. Like it's just like there has to be a fucking easier way for a lot of these problems.
So,
and is that just money? Is that just taxation and just allocating the funds correctly?
The other thing is to completely change the system, where money doesn't rule everything. Money is not as important, right? So that it wouldn't be such a detriment to give up some of your money.
Yeah.
But I don't know how we change that. It could be in the political system. I think bigger, it would be culturally. If the richest people were generous people who would be okay with more taxes and stuff like that, then it would get passed, I would feel like, right? If most conservatives or people lobbying for conservatives or Republicans in this country or whatever country stopped doing that and it went, you know what? I can give up some of my money if it helps save 1 million lives. That's okay. They have to do that or it's not going to change unless we make them do it, right? And so that's the whole thing with like the stimulus check is that there's a lot of rich ass people who don't need the stimulus check and they go, you're going to take it out of my pocket to give to them? What? That doesn't make sense. And what they don't realize is that some things will cause you to have more taxes, but not everything, and it will be pretty minimal.
Also, I feel like something they need to realize too is that just like if poor people are making more money, like society just functions more efficiently. People are happier at their jobs, probably more if they're, if you don't have to work. If you're working a minimum wage job, but you're making minimum wage, whatever that is in this world I'm about to describe. Sure. If you're working your minimum wage job and you don't have to work a second job and you go home to a nice house and you can feed yourself, zero problem. You can set up a nice entertainment system in the living room. You can, you have
your family, have your life.
Yeah, exactly. Just regular living.
But I want to have 3 yachts. Now I can only have 1 yacht.
Yeah,
not
and
worth it.
That's when I get passionately like, fuck you, dude. Like, fuck you up your stupid fucking ass. You're a fucking piece of shit.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
That's where I'm like, you are fucking garbage.
But I do think they're.
I think
it's
Bezos
tough.
is probably like, and that's the thing. People will come to his defense like, look at how much money he gave here, though, and look at how much money he gave here, bro. It's like, yeah, and look at how much he still has. Like,
I don't like to get into specifics of like people because we don't know. Maybe like people are like, Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or Bill Gates.
sure.
Maybe they do actually do good work with their money and they give it a lot away or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Maybe they give it a lot away for tax breaks. Whoa, crazy idea.
Yeah.
It's just like the general consensus as there's people funding these lobbyists and people aligned with people who will stop increasing taxes. There's, people who want taxes to go down. And it's those people. I'm not going to pick out anyone in particular because who knows, right? Maybe
I'll say fuck Bezos.
sure. Why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I don't know him. I don't know what he does, right? Maybe he really does
Just
want to
gives me
give
the
a lot.
creeps.
Yeah, he's weird. He's weird. But I guess the thing is, these people are the type of people who view anyone can do it. I did it. Why can't you? I'm not special. They're also nurture, the real callback. They think it's all nurture. They think anything, we're all equal, and then you go from there. We all have the same starting. We don't have the same starting point. That's the fact of it, right? But that's their thought process, right? Even someone like Kanye, who maybe didn't come up in the greatest situation, he's now going, what do you mean? If I can do it, anyone can do it, right? But
True, because it does seem like the mentality changes sometimes, and that's a thing I ask myself the opposite.
Everyone gets conservative once they get money.
I was gonna say, and I ask myself that every day. It's like, if I got money, would I become like that? And currently, I have to be honest and say I don't know, and that means that there's a perfectly possible chance that I get that money and I'm like, yeah, I did earn this. I worked hard for it, and I want it.
You get mad now or I do at least, when they take money out of my check that I get for my regular job, right? I go, what? I earned $1,000. I'm only getting $800.
Yeah.
That's insane. Fuck that, right? I earned that money.
Yeah.
Of course you get mad. Someone's taking the money you earned, right?
Yeah.
But it's going to good things. And if you know that, you shouldn't feel so bad about it.
Shouldn't.
But the thing is, it isn't all going to good things.
I say I don't know, to be fair. I would comfortably argue that if I found myself in Bezos' position, I would do my best to just be like, all right, let's end world hunger. Let's make sure no one goes hungry. Why would anyone ever go hungry again? I have this much money. True.
But there's different levels of wealth as well. Jeff Bezos, yes, you have so much. But there are people who make a lot, but they still see higher levels and they want to get there and they feel like they're getting held back. Because that's what it is. It's capping the top.
So you want to get into some crazy conspiracy shit, though? Real quick, it's not even. It's it's on-site conspiracy. I haven't even looked into other conspiracy.
Right now,
theories.
we're theory crafting this episode.
Oh, for sure. But okay, imagine the type of shit that just the meetings of the club of once you make that much money, what information do you also then hold, which influences what decisions maybe you're even allowed to make. Maybe Bezos would. Maybe Bezos would end world hunger if it was actually possible to do. You're talking in his situation.
A type of an Illuminati secret ruling class, that skull and bones type shit that really runs what's going on. Yeah.
I mean, okay, think about, once you have that much money, are there rules as to what you're allowed to do with it? Or is it really, really up to you? Is it not up to you?
There's got to be some rules.
Right? That's what I'm saying. There has to be a set of...
Whether it's government or whether it's...
I don't think it's government. I think these are the people that run the government. I think this is the government. I think these are the people... I'm talking to the people who I think we really bow down to.
That's the deep state argument, is that there's this... They are the ones who really run shit. And they're more...
I don't think it's a deep state conspiracy argument or anything like that. We just see it with lobbyists. They pay off the right people to do the convincing and fuel the propaganda. But it's not fucking that's rocket science to me.
But that's a free... It's fucked, but that's a free market way to do it. So that's no ruling class. If you have money, you can pay for lobbyists. Simple. Whoever has the most money wins. There's no secret agenda or people pulling the strings.
No, but it's still fucked. We still have to do something about it.
Yeah, I agree.
And the secret agenda is of what I'm saying. What is allowed to be done with that money? What upholds the global economy? What upholds our economic status? Right. So you were explaining to me last time when I foolishly thought we were still on the gold standard. which
Please
is
don't
fucking
make me try to
hysterical.
explain economics again.
Fine.
Go ahead though. Ask.
No, it's just like, okay, so like Jeff Bezos doesn't seem like a bad person. Elon Musk definitely seems like he's using his money to try and do good things and to try and get.
From his perspective,
I'm an Elon fanboy too. Like, I'm not a billionaire hater. I just hate on Bezos because I see more, probably like
you have
things that he could do with his money, but I have no idea. I have no clue. I have no fucking clue.
He has a foundation.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I have no clue.
That maybe he pulls money out of, or maybe it actually does good work.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Exactly. Maybe. But I'm saying with that type of money, maybe he is the type of person to be like, oh, wait a second. Like, I have these zeros in my bank account. Why don't I just rid the world of hunger? But what if there's people stopping him from doing that? I'm almost giving him the benefit of the doubt in this conspiracy.
That he would do that.
That he's saying he's a good person, but he made that much money, so now you're bound to some sort of fucking weird contract as to where that money's allowed to go, or shit's going to collapse, or shit's going to fucking...
I think there is some of that. There are protections in place to keep the systems we have, and those who have money keep money. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
If Jeff Bezos decided, I'm going to give everyone food, there goes, every supermarket in America goes under. Right? That's a lot of money. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of power. Yeah. Those people might be the ones trying to stop it. You're right. Do you know what that is? Is the stop of monopolies, right?
Yeah.
We actually don't allow one company to just rule them all for the most part. It happens all the time anyway, but those laws are in place for that reason.
Yeah.
In this case, it kind of fucks it. But what you're saying here is when someone has that much money, you get that much power. But in America especially, we don't allow one person or one entity or one company to have all that power. Okay. Because then they become a totalitarian state, right?
Yeah.
So like, let's say the example is China, right? You can make the argument that what Xing's doing in China is great and it's helping the country, right? In a lot of ways. But no matter what, whoever is this one person in power gets to choose what is good and bad.
Okay.
And what they think is important is their perspective, right?
Yeah.
So like Elon Musk, right? Let's say Elon Musk has all the money. We let him figure it all out. Maybe he doesn't cure world hunger. Maybe he focuses on the rocket. You know what I mean? Which is what he's doing.
Yeah.
So everyone has the freedom to choose what they want to do with their money, right? If they want us to try to solve world hunger, they could do that. They could try to do that.
Okay, so Bezos could do it if he. We're maybe sticking with it's probably.
I bet he.
Reality is probably he could do it if he wanted to.
If he literally just put more food on Amazon, figured out a way to dish it out, the supply chain was right, and he had lower prices than everyone out, he would bully ball everyone else out the game. If he could figure out a way to do it, you know, but it just would be so much red tape, so much shit to get through. It'd be really hard. And to him, if that's not his true passion, he's not going to go after it that hard.
Yeah.
And the issue also would then become Jeff Bezos would become super powerful. Yeah. And that's really scary. If he just upped the prices on food, now there's no other companies, everyone's fucked. You know, it's just like...
Oh, so he like lowers it for a long time so everybody comes to him, runs the other places at the business, and then fucking upcharges at the ass.
Or like, this is literally what used to happen in like feudal times is he's dope. He dies. His asshole son inherits the company and fucks it all up. That's what happens in these totalitarian states in these countries, right?
Yeah.
Is that there's one ruler or one leading party, and it doesn't matter if a guy is good or bad. It's just the fact that one person with all the power is not the move, right? It's what America has learned, essentially. It's the whole point of checks and balances.
Yeah.
Right? Does it work right here? Who knows? But that's the point, right?
Yeah.
If you just have this one ruling class or one family, eventually someone is going to be shit.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
That's what we're worried about, is having one person.
Is there enough diversity in the richest of the rich in the United States for it to be like kind of okay where that's not going to happen? Or is it just going to always stay within?
Of course not. Because it's all these conglomerates. It's like the richest of the rich. It eventually breaks down to a few people.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're arguing, right, that let's say Jeff Bezos is going to feed everyone, the other top people then drop out, right? The owner of, I don't know, Kellogg's, right? Kellogg's makes a ton of food, all the cereals, shit like that. He's maybe a top 100 richest guy. Probably not. Now he's not. You know what I mean? Having that money is very fragile in a way, especially with a business like that. If he gets beat out, his business goes under, he's bankrupt. It's over. It's done. And now he's not a player at that table. what I'm saying is right now we have a lot of players at the table. Most of them are bad, but there's some guys, right? Maybe if we pull out more players at the table, we could maybe get lucky, roll the dice, and get 3 dope guys. But who knows if we get 3 awful guys? And now there's 0 good guys on our team. Having that mix is what helps things go, I think.
Yeah.
It's just like I said, like Elon Musk, right? Seems like he's a good guy. He's not just about making money. He wants to do good things for the world. But his version of good things for the world is different than everyone else. Right?
True. And
So
what's right for humanity.
we have the right to support the person financially or by voting who aligns most with what we think is right for the world, what we want to see, what change we want.
That's going to be different for everyone.
Of course. And it doesn't invalidate Elon stuff. And it doesn't invalidate what Jeff Bezos or Joe Biden wants or whoever. You know, it's just they're different things. And we have voting power and purchasing power to support those people. That's the bigger thing is that if
that
you
just
don't
made me not want to go into
Bezos,
any conspiracies because that made a lot of sense. Like, that made a lot of
but
fucking...
it's important because a lot of people think
sense.
it's this next level thing, but it's really just like our systems are flawed and there's ways to fix
So what are
them.
the true flaws? What are the true flaws that we should be focusing on?
I mean, there's
too many.
So many. I mean, the fact that like there's voter suppression in the country is just insane. Or like, you know, people would say the electoral college even, right? It's like not a true voting or having a republic. I'm not saying necessarily that's good or bad, but gerrymandering states to adjust voting demographics is fucked.
Yeah.
But I will say it's just like we need to have more of these voices available. We need to have less career people who are all these bad guys in power. It's cool that you can actually see, you know what, I fuck with Elon. I want to support him. I'm going to buy his cars. People need to use their purchasing power more, I think. It's hard to be like, I want to revolutionize the system. On a personal level, it should be, if I don't fuck with Jeff Bezos, I'm not going to buy Amazon. You just said how much you hated him, and you had an Amazon package show up today.
Oh, yeah.
You
I
put
use
money
Amazon all the time.
You put money in his pocket.
Every day, Jeff. So maybe I do love you, baby.
And so, I mean, that's what people always say, like, oh, I don't want to give to big business. I like supporting small local stuff.
No, you don't.
No, you just order it from Amazon instead, you know? There was an interesting article I read about like how the new generation is very against these big businesses and likes to support local and small businesses with the exception of Amazon, which is scary because it just means now instead of having multiple large big businesses, it's just one. And that's terrifying, man. They rule everything.
Yeah.
It could get scary. I don't think that'll necessarily happen, but
that's pretty crazy that like we're down for the cause of small business in every facet except like
they're saying in
Target, Walmart style stores.
Yeah, like right, even us. Like if I don't have to shop at Target or Walmart or something like that, I probably wouldn't. I'm very much I just do whatever's cheapest because I'm not at the part of my life yet where I can afford to use my purchasing power more.
Yeah,
which is another issue. We need to get the people the freedom to have
use
a more solid base so they can use their purchasing power, not just what's cheapest. Because right now, you're going to pick Amazon because it's cheapest, quickest, it's the best, right?
Yeah.
They can lower the prices more than anyone else and take over the market.
Yeah.
That's some crazy
man.
monopoly type shit. But I don't think that would ever happen. And that's why we have voting. Voting is the counter to purchasing power.
Yeah. Is
that if Jeff Bezos started doing this, we would hopefully have a government stop it.
Yeah, but sometimes voting doesn't work either.
Well, because of, you can pay for lobbyists, right? Jeff Bezos could pay. Let's say Jeff Bezos does the thing you're saying. He's like, I'm going to feed the whole world. Everyone has to buy from me now. And I'm going to have lower prices than everyone else, deliver it right to your door. Perfect. Best quality, best prices. He gets rid of everyone else. What happens then? Does the government step in and say, hey, you can't do that?
Yeah. Or
maybe the people who think the free market's the best, let it happen. And maybe he pays the lobbyists for those people to make sure it happens.
Yeah.
Then we get into rough territory. And that's why who you vote for does really matter. And also why we need to have a better voting system. Because that's the counter. Because let's say he tried to do that and we had everyone, majority of the Senate and the House and the president were all people who are very much this free market, let whatever happen. If there's monopolies.
Yeah.
We'd be fucked.
Yeah.
It would be too late.
Yeah.
If he had 4 years of that, 2 years of that, he's got it. That's scary. So it's like, it really matters who you're kind of voting in that way, because you never know when a situation like that could happen.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I think a lot of my frustration, and maybe frustration as I'm sitting here talking to you about this whole sundry of problems that our country is facing, from again off of the initial music conversation, which was great, but I think that my frustration, and maybe amongst our generation too, is and maybe I speak for a lot of people our age, and maybe a lot of people in general, I don't know, but for me personally, it's like there's so many things that I see are wrong and simultaneously have clearly no fucking concept of how to fix them or what to do about it, and like what is actually the correct route to take. It's like when you get fucking like mad because your phone or computer isn't working properly.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm gonna bust out the fucking toolkit right there and do the fucking rewiring that needs to happen. I'm gonna have to take it to somebody else to solve this fucking problem for me.
Exactly.
And most of the problems that I feel for some reason passionately drawn to, they're all like fucking computers, where if they're broken, I don't know how to fucking fix it, but I want it to work right.
You could do it though. If your computer broke, you could fix it. Then you pick up your phone and you research and you learn how to fix it. You go out and buy the tools and you could do it. It's just hard. And that's what people,
It's just hard.
People want it to be easy. They just want these problems to be like fixed, but people work their whole lives to fix these problems.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you could become one of those people if you want, or you can choose to support those kind of people if you maybe don't have the time or money to do it personally.
Yeah.
But these aren't easy things. Like, people just want it to be like, why can't everyone have money and why can't everyone have food? It's like, that's great. I totally agree. I think a lot of people would agree.
Yeah.
How do we do it? And there needs to be smart minds like pushing that thing. And like I said, it's people with money and smart minds getting their goals. Elon said, I want to fucking go to Mars, dude. And he fucking did it. Like, or he's doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That sounds,
by starting PayPal.
That sounds harder than giving everyone food. It's probably harder to go to Mars than to give everyone food. But that's what he chose to focus on, and he's very smart, and he got the money behind it and did it. So if you want to do that for feeding people, you got to get on it, and you have to have money, and you have to have some power and some leeway and some sort of plan.
Dude, and that's the thing.
But
When I get there, am I like, that's seriously, so maybe this is a deep dive into myself almost, because like, if I got there, would I put it towards ending world hunger? Because maybe the choice really is up to you.
It is.
And then you want to do your great, big, heroic
whatever you
thing,
think is
whatever
most important.
you think that is.
Right?
And everybody's probably got a different concept of that, and you're just going to get crucified one way or the other.
Yeah.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
And it could be as simple as Dana White of the UFC
Yeah.
loves mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
And he wants to make money and spread it around the world. That's what he did. And that's a great thing to a lot of people that, wow, now my jiu-jitsu dojo is more popping. Now people want to learn karate here. He gave a lot of people business, you know?
Gave a lot of people business and
around
the world, like, hope of making it. Like,
exactly.
In a sport that wasn't really recognized.
So, like, that's a great thing, too, right?
Yeah.
They're just different things. And,
It's
like, everyone has these issues. And it's just crazy to think that we haven't fixed some of what looks like the most obvious issues. You know?
How do we get people to stop being so angry then?
Yeah. And the thing is,
because I get angry too. Like, I get passionate about shit that I know fucking nothing about. Clearly, like, I get like, I go on it like, and I talk like I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
because
like,
you're upset.
Here's
You
what
should
this
be
is.
upset.
And there's things that are wrong and they need fixing. And like, honestly, I'm a true believer in. Not always. Obviously, this isn't for every single thing. I'm not applying this to the general, but in cases, and I'm sure maybe a decent amount in terms of all, it's like facts yesterday aren't facts today, and facts today aren't facts tomorrow.
True.
Not necessarily in that exact time scale.
Some things, yeah.
Exactly. Like, sometimes facts change over time, like, and accepted facts change over time and things like that. Yet we seem so, but a lot of Americans, people I interact with too, we're all so fucking hardcore hell bent on keeping like what we like identify as our thoughts and how we think the world should be and what's heroic and what's the right way to live and shit like that. And not never, but rarely try and take a step out of it and be like, all right, what the fuck am I not looking at here?
Right. And that's why.
And how do you get that to be the commonality? Because I'm aware of it. I'm talking about it right here with you right now. But tomorrow, something will come up where I'm not thinking that way. And it's just like, nope, I'm right about this. I'm doing this decision. And I will not have looked at the full scope.
I think in the grandest sense, education. But when I say education, at our age, it's about conversations with people. So people like that new app Clubhouse, where it's like you just talk with people around the world about different topics. And because you had all these theories, right? And then once you talked to me and I told you my thoughts, you went, oh, actually, maybe it's this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's sharing of thoughts and ideas to reach a middle ground or
not
some
fearing,
sort of
not fearing that you're going to be ridiculed or called stupid or like,
No.
I do kind of fucking hate that too. Cause that's something that happened my whole life. Like
yes.
I'm a, you know this better than anybody. I'm a wild thinker.
Yeah.
Cause I don't often look into shit. It's just like somebody presents a problem and I'm like, oh, here's the first answer off of my head. Like do this. Why not? And that, of course, has probably already been thought up before, maybe tried out and failed multiple times.
Not always. Like, for example, earlier, your idea of giving the drugs to everyone, right? Your system of play. It's the right idea. It just needed to be edited a little bit. And so I asked you some questions. And doing it yourself, you already started figuring it out. You know what I mean? You had the idea, and then you need people to criticize and to break it down. It's like the scientific
not get offended
process.
by criticism.
Yeah.
That's something that I need to get better at, honestly.
But that's science, though. You have a theory,
and
everyone tests it out. Everyone tries to disprove it. Every single person's like, nah, this is wrong. And if they can't do it, then you got it right. You know what I mean? So if you have this plan to give everyone free health care, and everyone breaks it down.
Put that way.
That's exactly what science is.
That's what lab comparison is. It's everyone trying to say you're fucking wrong and I told you so.
Yeah. And
not them trying to support you.
So like, you go like this. Gravity's real. You know, you tell everyone gravity's real. They're like, no, it's not. And they try every single way to break the laws of gravity.
Yeah.
No, there's an exception here. It doesn't apply to this.
Yeah.
Which means it must be wrong. And people do it for hundreds and hundreds of years.
And if they can't do it, then you're right.
Yeah.
And you have figured out
for
like
the most
scientific fact.
But people are still trying to disprove laws of gravity and stuff like that today. And now we understand it works differently in space and it can be manipulated in certain ways, potentially, maybe by aliens. But you know what I mean? That's, you take what you know and you try to disprove the theory. And so we should try to do that with issues. It's the same thing. You go, I think this is the best solution to this. And it's not, no, you're wrong. It's this. It's, you make them understand that they're wrong, right? When I was like,
do you think question asking is the best way to do it? Because you even said you're like, let me ask you a couple questions and then answer as honestly as you can. Because
that allows the person to realize it themselves. So when I said, so you could just go in, get free drugs, walk out, you went, maybe that's not it. You know what I mean? And it makes you come up with an even better idea. It's just pushing you. You need someone to criticize.
My shit was walk in, buy drugs, and then leave.
Right.
And then you could leave. That was that.
But also, like, the questions I'm asking, I have an idea in my head what's best.
Yeah.
But I'm asking the question so you find out what's best. And it might be different than what I think.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm pointing out a potential issue.
Yeah.
And then you're like, how about this answer? How about this answer? And everyone can be like, this is the solution. And then we figure it out. But it's conversation, it's debate, it's back and forth, it's coming to the middle, it's conclusion. But like, we don't really have that when we're so polarized. That's the hardest part. We're just more and more polarized. People are more extreme than ever, which is good because I do believe in some of those things.
Do you think extremism is just kind of like a trend throughout? I'm sure there have been other extremists throughout time.
Totally.
Throughout all of human history. Come on, there's more than just us. We're not the most extreme generation.
I just think it only gets more extreme. The extremists for those times were extreme. They were the extreme.
You think it's just exponentially growing in extremity? Or the extremity is exponentially growing?
I think amongst the large public, yes, because more people have access to the internet and ulterior modes of education. When everyone's taught the same thing, everyone believes the same thing. But when everyone is taught differently because of the internet, teaching yourself through the internet, they have different thoughts, and so they're farther apart. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but we have to learn how to be very, very different, but still come together.
Okay.
I think that's the hard part. I'm okay with people thinking, fuck capitalism, we should be fully a socialist, communist-esque country, right?
Uh-huh.
You can think that, but you have to be ready to defend your ideas against someone who's on the complete other side thinking full free market, full libertarian, whatever, you know? And then they probably will come to the best solution for everyone. And the more people in that conversation with different perspectives gives us the best answer in the end.
Yeah.
You know? But
Yeah.
you have to be able to go, no, like, it's not just immediately like, fuck you, you don't get it. You know what I mean? Like,
You definitely argued with brick walls before, though, right?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Like, so, like, what do you do when you find yourself in that situation? What's your approach to an argument with a brick wall?
it's kind of like what I did with you.
Okay.
Is making them think of it themselves.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you what's wrong with what you're thinking. I'm just going to ask you questions and you're going to realize why you're wrong. So if you're telling me this person does it, and of course, sometimes they won't come to it. They won't admit it.
Yeah.
Maybe they think about it a week later and then they get it. You know what I mean? Maybe
yeah.
someone else, everything is a little chisel into the wall, right? I might not break it, but if I go off on them and tell them why I don't think the fully free market is perfect, right? And they go, whatever, man, fuck you. And then a week later, someone else tells them it. And then someone else tells them it. And they get a bunch of different arguments. I go, fuck, man, maybe that's not it. I mean, you've done that. I've done that.
Yeah.
I've had ideas that I've changed.
Yeah.
Not because one person told me. I used to always joke. I used to date this girl and I would try to like put her onto music or tell her about something. And she'd be like, yeah. And never do it.
Yeah.
And then her friend would put her on. And she's like, oh, this is super good. I'm like, I told you a month ago. You don't care what I think. It just takes the collective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need more than one person. And then you go, fuck. You know, like. Also, it's more like how do we get people to not be brick walls in the first place? And that's respecting each other's opinions, being open to conversation, being open to changing your mind. That's hard to do. I wish education
It's difficult to
pushed
teach
that
too.
more.
Well, I would try to, but honestly, again, we
The
just
system's
kind of
not
limit.
set that way.
It's not, and we all, because we're like, again, this goes back to my theory about like fuck like workplace and professional conversation, because it really does. It limits the way people think, and often there's that you can limit it in a way though that's different. I feel like the way that we limit it and the way that we correct these wild thoughts that kids may have is not the way to do it. I remember saying wild shit all the time back in middle school and just being like told by a teacher like, no, you're wrong, like shut up, it's stupid.
Imagine if your teacher like debated you on it though. What if the teacher questioned you and helped you break it down? If you're a dumb kid and a teacher just schools you in front of everyone, I know that kind of sounds mean, but that might be better than just a no, shut up, you're stupid. It is better than no, shut up.
It's for sure better.
It's a dialogue. It's a conversation.
It didn't happen that much for me.
Doesn't happen for a lot of people.
It happened more in high school. It happened more in high school.
Because I think we went to a good high school.
Yeah.
But like, that's hard because that's on such an individual level. Like we need to increase the skill level of all of the teachers in the country. That's so hard. Or more of the teachers in the country.
How do you do that? Because this is almost like a personality trait that we're talking here. This is almost like an ability to question and have an open mind. Like,
and not be frustrated when you have a million dumbass kids asking you stupid questions all day. You know, you have to actually like entertain them. But I think it's paying them more. It's maybe
getting more, getting less students per teacher.
Yes. Them getting paid more, them having more schooling themselves, maybe more preparation in not just like teaching, but like psychology and like how to deal with different kinds of people and not treating everyone
Which I think they're getting better about. I think that
we're
is getting better as we progress. And progress is being made while bad things are happening. I think it's easy to get lost, especially in today's world with the internet and stuff. And I think that's why I needed to delete Twitter, because it's so easy to think that progress is being completely hindered by all the negativity that you're being constantly
Twitter loves
fed.
to say the world is burning, the world's on fire.
We're progressing all the time. We're progressing every day. Like,
but it doesn't mean you shouldn't be critical, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't have end goals. But I really do hate. It's also very depressing. I think it's bad psychologically. I know for me it is, and for a lot of people, when online is telling you the world is fucked, there's all these problems, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's like,
except sit here and watch and fucking retweet
or retweet it, or you know. And
make
the thing
your
is,
fucking Instagram stories about the problem.
There are
and feel
some
like you've
things,
done your fucking part.
Yeah, there's things you could do about it, and you can donate yourself and do stuff like that. But you can't fix every problem just you as one person. You need to spread that, and you can spread that through your speech. And I think doing it in a system like this, is going to reach out to more people than if I just put a tweet about it, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just like, it's very hard. It's going to be piece by piece. But I agree, like online shit like that, it does bother me. Just because like, I don't like being that pessimistic either. Yeah. And I don't like worrying about stuff that I can't control. Mm-hmm. And obviously I could decide to drop everything and be like, I want to stop blank problem in this country. Yeah. I bet I could get some work done on it, right? Yeah. But I can't do that for everything. And you kind of have to pick your battles at a point, you know? It's unfortunate. And you can support everything, but there's only a couple things you can put your true focus on. Like if I want to stop the opioid crisis in this country, I can't also try to solve world hunger at the same time.
Yeah. And do you notice that people actually like, because I noticed it on, especially on Twitter, but like everywhere, even in conversation with people. Yeah. If one person focuses on one thing, but isn't focusing on what this group of people care about, then that group of people is like, fuck that guy.
Exactly.
I'm guilty of that. I do that all the fucking time. I do it all the time.
We're saying with the millionaires. Yeah. Just why aren't we shitting on Elon Musk? He's not solving world hunger. He's just building these stupid rockets.
Because we identify with his vision.
More so, personally, but I bet there's people who think that too. There's a lot of people who hate him because he has a ton of money and he's not putting it where they would put it. Yeah. And I guess I would say my argument to that is stop waiting around for someone else to do it for you. You know what I mean? Like, go do it. If you want to have, like, I think we are under the impression, like, we should just be able to vote and make it happen, which is great. I wish we could do that. That the true voting reflected what the country really wanted and we made those changes. That'd be great. But it's unfortunately not the case in this country all the time.
Politicians like keeping their job and their money.
Yeah, and their money. So maybe the trick is just to get some money and then you can help form the world the way you like it, which is kind of scary that you can do that, but just go make a ton of money, try to do everything you can, and then use that money for what you deem fit. Yeah. And we always had the argument, like, who's more, like, what's more powerful? Like, getting this many votes for someone or having this much money. And usually it's the money, especially because the money can essentially buy votes often or make it so certain votes aren't counted or suppressed or something like that, right? Not counted, but like, you know what I mean? They could redraw the lines and shit. So it's like, just get some money and then do it. Like Elon Musk didn't care about PayPal probably. It wasn't his passion to make purchasing online easier, but that allowed him to pursue his passions. It's not a quick fix. It's a long game. Yeah. You know what I mean? I could maybe have the goal, like, let's say.
Well, we're the generation of immediacy, bro. Yeah, we want our problem solved now. And like, I want to play my fucking video game right now, this fucking instant, or I'm going to fuck up the whole Easter video, bro. Yeah.
And that's what we do all the time. And it's like, that wanting it that bad is good, I think. That want is good. But you need to put it in a positive way. Yeah. If you want it that bad, don't go whine on Twitter. You can go whine on Twitter too, but actively do something. Right? And whatever mean that is, I think one way could be rallying votes for a certain candidate that you like, or working on a campaign, or running for office yourself. But I think I could probably do more if I just got really rich and then fix things more so how I liked them. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think I could do more that way. Yeah. Do whatever works for you, but figure out what's the way you can impact the world the best and do it that way.
Probably by getting some fucking money.
I think people need to realize that, unfortunately, in this country, just having a lot of money gives you a lot of influence in that way. Right? It could be like a rapper. Maybe a rapper wants to get big just to spread his message of self-love or whatever, you know? Or people have a lot of goals like that, and you can do it in a lot of different ways. Being a public persona, getting votes, getting money. So you just have to find that and like work for it, and it's not going to happen overnight. Yeah. So it's just work, and stop fucking tweeting. Well, you can tweet about it too, but
stop fucking tweeting so much, man.
You better do it still.
Jesus fuck. Shut up. You know? No one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck.
I think the issue.
No one gives a fuck about what I'm saying right now either.
True.
Like, it's.
But we know that.
Yeah, exactly. We're aware of it.
Yeah, and we know.
But to the contrary of that, again, because sometimes saying things out loud immediately sparks thought, which is why we should just start talking more. Because like that happened to me all the time, where I'd send out a tweet and then I'd say it out loud and be like, oh, but now that people are reading it, I just thought of all these different thoughts that go along with this one.
And then people will counter. You can't have a real discussion that way.
No,
you know?
Not at all.
So
not at all.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
But there needs to. So, okay. because I do feel like voice matters.
Uh-huh.
I just feel like putting it towards Twitter. I'm saying shut the fuck up on Twitter, because it gives you the illusion that your voice is mattering, but it's not.
And you get
mattering
retweets
as a
and you get
word.
likes and you feel good about yourself. Like, I really did something.
Yeah.
And like, maybe you did a little bit, but like,
But
you
not
could do
really.
more. You shouldn't feel like I did my job end of day. You know what I mean?
I can't say I've done shit in my life to change anything
No.
either. Yeah, and believe me, I've had my time of fucking popping off again,
Right.
admittedly, on shit that I don't really know too much about and really haven't worked too hard to change.
Exactly.
But like, that's got to change, man.
But what are we doing right now? Right?
Yeah.
We've talked about doing a show like this or something like this for the longest time.
Yeah.
Right? To share our thoughts and to hopefully influence the world for the better. Now we're actually doing it. And no one can say, and we're not expecting to influence the world tomorrow with a tweet.
No.
We're saying we're going to do this for years and years and years. And maybe we'll help out a couple people or influence some people to do good things. And we're doing the work now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you need to be able to do both. You can tweet all day if you also are doing shit like this.
Yeah. But I recommend not doing it too, honestly. I'm
I just think
I'm kind of on the fuck Twitter thing.
There's better options, better
Yeah.
ways. The app itself causes a lot of issues. That's why
Yeah.
people like, I keep talking about Clubhouse. I don't really know a ton about the app. I just got it recently, but it's the social media
Download Clubhouse.
sponsor us, where you're able to have these discussions
Yeah.
real with your voice with a diverse group of people, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I just immediately, if you're trying to really spread a message or an idea, that is 10 times better than doing a tweet about it.
Yeah.
And we should just support people doing that more so.
Yeah.
And we think our way of doing that is this show. And if we, not necessarily like push our agenda, but we're just trying to like make the world a better place from
Everyone's
what
pushing
we do.
their own agenda. It is an agenda. We like to think it's a positive one. Sometimes I have negative agendas.
It's not even
too.
necessarily about that. It's also like,
I can be a negative person.
Yeah, of course.
From time to time, I guarantee you I have some ideas that aren't great. They're probably overtly negative,
but
overtly
you wouldn't,
dark.
I agree. But like, you would have people around you and you show that you're someone who can take criticism and have conversation.
Yeah.
So that situation wouldn't happen in the first place.
True.
So because of something like this, hopefully we can, if we change one person's idea, that's great. We're just going to try and do what we can. My voice is shot. So I think
This has been episode 12 of the Career Podcasters.
12 for sure.
12
Our
for
first
sure.
true video.
First
hopefully.
video. Be on the lookout. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. Maybe once those fucking... I probably shouldn't bad talk them.
YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. Check out our Twitter at Career Podcaster. I think it's just Career Podcaster.
Speaking of which, hop on Twitter, everybody, and follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter. Wow, I fucking hate myself. I gotta delete our Twitter right now. Okay, our Twitter will just be announcements and stuff like that. I'm not.
I think so. I don't think I'm going to engage in opinions.
No, you can comment if you want,
Of course.
and maybe we'll read them on the show and we'll actually talk about them.
Yeah.
That would be a better way to do it.
Dude, that'd be an
Or-
interesting way to do a comment board.
Oh yes, I would love to have people say stuff.
Well, let me come back at you, fucking
If you wanna have your
little bitch
take
ass
on the show
369.
and have yourself in the conversation, record audio and video of yourself and send it in, and we'll play it and we'll talk about it and break it down and
That
allow
would be
you to
sick.
maybe if it's a good enough back and forth banter, we'll have you on the show. I'd rather communicate to our fans that way. Do Twitter, but if you want to do Twitter, you can do that too.
Still follow us on Twitter.
Thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next time. This has been Career Podcasters.
Peace.